Hey, everybody. Welcome to Rum and Cinema, the podcast where we explore the world of films and the art of mixing the perfect drink. In this episode, we will be discussing the movie The Menu. This film, set in the world of high-end cuisine, will take us on a journey of taste and temptation as the characters navigate their way through a multi-course meal and the challenges that come with it. So grab a drink, sit back, and join us as we delve into the flavors of The Menu. That intro was written by ChatGPT. It didn't know what The Menu was. I asked it to do
It knows.
I asked it to break down.
It also clearly didn't know what our podcast was.
No, I don't think we make drinks so much. But yeah, that is us. We're Rum and Cinema. We are going to be talking about The Menu, now streaming on HBO Max. You can find this anywhere you listen to podcasts and youtube.com/@rumandcinema to keep up with our new episodes as we release them. Today, I'm joined once again by my beautiful guests, Nate and Jake. Nate, how are you? What's going on?
I'm just reeling from the just sharp increase in professionalism. A call to action, a scripted intro. I don't even know. I feel unprepared now.
I'm using that marketing degree.
I have a drink.
You know, got to use that degree someday. I have a communications minor.
I'm also excited because I think this is the first movie in a while that I really, genuinely, really liked.
Yeah, this movie kicks ass.
That's why I'm reeling. I can't think of the last time that we all liked a movie.
It's been a while, right?
It was Everything Everywhere.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. This isn't as good as that, but it's still really good. It's a fun movie. I would watch it.
I wonder how much staying power that movie's going to have.
Everything Everywhere?
And just us mentioning it nonstop. I know it has a lot of just how often we're going to reference it.
I feel like it's going to be close to
I refuse to let Wally die.
Did you see that?
That's just because you have a great Wally impression.
There's a TikTok where somebody was like, it took me however long it's been out, 10, 15 years, to realize that when Wally's going over one of the newspapers, it says that those robots destroyed the world. And then somebody else stitched it, and they're like, tell me you don't understand Wally still 15 years later without telling me you don't understand Wally. It's like, yeah, of course the people playing the robots, but it's their lazy asses. Oh, it's so good.
That's incredible.
I also saw an Onion article headline that said, vegan doesn't know that pineapple was used to kill cow. And I thought that was one of the funniest ones I've ever seen in my life.
I really enjoyed that one.
That was so good. All right. Jake, hi, how are you? What's going on?
I'm doing good. I'm excited to talk about this movie. I think it's a good one. And I think it was a unique experience.
It was cool, right? So let's dive into it.
Cool.
We're going to talk about The Menu. Directed by, I wasn't in the right spot, Mark Mylod, starring Ray Fiennes, Anya Taylor-Joy, Nicholas Hoult, and others. Janet McTeer's in there, John Leguizamo's in there, Rob Yang. It's cool. So we're gonna go meal by meal, or like scene by scene, basically, for this movie, because all of us thought that this would be an interesting way to talk about this film. So we're gonna start off with the boat ride, where we meet everybody. It's kind of like the opening warm-up. And when they start, it's like an orchestra warming up when the movie starts. Like it's it's scales being played by an orchestra, which I thought was cool. It's like kind of getting you ready. And then the pretentiousness starts, and we can kind of hear the roles that all these players are going to play. There's the finance bros, representing like greed and crypto probably at the time. The movie star who uses art to be famous rather than be an artist. The stuck-up foodie, who is Tyler, played by Nicholas Hoult, really well. Really, really well. In the second watch, I liked his performance a lot. Who is paired with Anya Taylor-Joy playing Margot, which we don't know if that's her real name or not, probably not. But she plays someone who we find out later is not who we think she is. And then the couple who comes all the time and is like the rich, jaded couple. So that's it kind of does a good job of setting up the scene and the people that we're going to be interacting with for the next hour and a half without giving us anything about Ray Fiennes, who's the chef. We're still kind of being like led along this road. Then we go to the tour where we walk through the different spots on the island, including like the smokehouse with the hanging meat, where they start to kind of poke a little bit with, on the 153rd day, they explain how the bacteria will destroy the person who eats it and you'll die. And everybody's kind of like nervous laughing.
I thought that was just a catty comment. annoyed about because that was asked by Tyler, right? Or who was that?
That was asked by
it was one of the crypto bros.
Crypto bro.
No, it was asked by one of the crypto bros being like trying to crack a joke.
Yeah.
And she just like tearing him apart.
And he did touch the meat with his shoulder. You can see him like hit the meat with his shoulder.
Oh, that's great.
And he also
just no respect.
Yeah, he also sits on their bed and like flicks their toothbrush, like doesn't give a fuck. Like that same guy.
Wow, I didn't even notice that.
Yeah,
that's fucked.
Immediate disrespect from that guy. I do also like how the server. I think Hong Chow plays her, Elsa. She just doesn't give a fuck anymore. Like there are moments. One of
my favorite characters.
It is so. It's
I've been thinking a lot about whether it's because she knew what was going on, and just like that's how a server would act if they knew there were absolutely no repercussions.
Yeah, she knew she could like put them on their place.
It was so fun to watch her do. Yeah, that was great.
Yeah,
I would be confident that she would be like that even at a normal tasting.
Yeah, I can see that.
Maybe. I mean, it does set, I guess, for. It all plays into the like performance of the pretentiousness. Maybe I think if I like made a comment and got corrected, I think that would be a memorable experience. Like I don't know if I'd even really be mad.
Yeah.
So it could be part of the normal experience.
Yeah.
Well, and also because for the most part, she was like at the start, she was kind, professional, just extremely welcoming. Everything that she did was in response to this collection of who we find out to be asshole guests.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's what made me think like maybe it was like not caring, but also maybe it's at this tier of like that you're expected to know how to behave. You're expected to like be respectful and she just knows that the chef's got her back.
Yeah. She knows she's in control.
Yeah.
Like she's the one in control of this situation, not them. And it's the first time they're not used to that. So that's why I think they're so thrown off by it. But you also notice that, like, as we go through the movie, if the help is in trouble, the help being like those who serve, if they're in trouble or hurt or whatever, they don't really react as much. But when one of them gets hurt, they're like aghast and have no idea. Like when the guy blows his head off, or later on.
Yeah, I saw your comment about that, but I wondered. I mean, if that's not also just like shock and rationalization. That's what I took it as first. Just trying to convince themselves that this isn't happening, that this is a performance. If it's the help, you can try to convince yourself
that everything's okay.
That this is, that everything's okay.
Everything will be fine.
Yeah. I wanted to, one thing from the very beginning was an interesting experience for me, and I want to know if you guys had it as well, is that the foodie
Tyler
kept Tyler I kept going back and forth on how much I related to him and how annoying he was. And obviously, it gets worse over the course.
Yep.
Because like I aspire, and I know Jake, like at least I don't know if you've been like fancy food and want to experience like that. I haven't had many experiences because I don't have $1,200 to drop on a dinner, but I've gone to like nice restaurants where they do some plating and some interesting, and I try to enjoy it. Mm-hmm. And so when he first came on, it was like the most relatable character to me. Like before he started being disrespectful to Margot, I was like, I get along with it. He was annoying. I was like, I was talking to Taylor about this, and she was like, the issue with him is that it's his whole personality.
Yes.
That's where it gets really annoying. But I did relate to him, and obviously that gets torn down more and more. And there were a couple times that we'll get into where I was like, oh, damn, like now it's making me feel bad about myself.
Yeah, that super fan ideology. Yeah.
I had that exact same experience with him because at the start of the movie, like getting on the boat and everything, you're like rooting for him, Mm-hmm. And you're like, really, he's like, oh, this is so cool. They're going on this trip. He's going to try all this food. And then quickly you become annoyed by him. And then quickly, like literally partway through the first course, your mind changes. Sometime between the first course and the second course, you're like, I hate this guy.
Yeah.
And I literally had that too. I was like, this makes you. It's not the intent of the movie at all. I don't think. I think it's more of a setting than what than their actual statement.
Right.
But
if you relate and get invested, it's got a chance to make you feel self-conscious. Like, like that.
Yeah. Oh my God.
And even going further into like talking about other art, like film and stuff, I'm just like, you're always writing that line, and that was such a self-insert. Like,
did either of you watch this the second time?
No.
I went through scenes to remind myself of the courses, but I didn't get invested.
I watched it the second time last night, and his performance is incredible when you know the ending. Because the first time you watch it, you're kind of like, oh, it's a girlfriend, and then maybe it's not, and why is he being such a dick? And then the reveal, and you're like, oh, fuck that guy. But when you watch it the second time...
Did you notice things of nervousness with the good reveal?
Yes. So good.
Okay.
But it was like...
Oh, man. Now I want to go see it again.
It was like early on, he's talking about there's a game to all of this with the menu. And he goes, you'll know at the end. And then it's like, oh, shit. He doesn't give a fuck.
What a fucking idiot.
Yeah, and all the times that he's like calm when everyone's like getting fucked up, like when the guys all run away and he stays there, it's like much different when you know what he knows.
I thought... See, at that point, because by then I already hated him, you know.
Yeah.
But I didn't. I just hated him. I didn't think there was anything nefarious. But when he's like, the guy gets his finger cut, and he's just doesn't care, and he's just eating his food, and then you start thinking, okay, something here is wrong because he's just not caring at all about this death around him.
Mm-hmm.
All right. We can jump back forward now. Okay. I wanted to get in there, like every single. That's why I wanted to talk, like this course by course is every single scene. There's so much going on,
and it builds so perfectly.
Every single course.
Yeah,
exactly.
It just comes to this. Okay, so then we get to the restaurant and we see them getting more and more isolated. Like the doors close behind them, the boat leaves. Like they do this good job of showing you. Like Margot notices that they're getting isolated. No one else really seems to care.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I don't think they've ever.
So you watch it.
I don't think they've ever had to. Those people have never felt fear, or felt like they weren't in control. I think is that whole thing. Like that's how he could dupe them all into this so easily.
Yeah, because literally none of the other ones noticed or cared that all the doors are shutting and locking behind them.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
there's literally posted guards. I mean, you could interpret them as waiters that are just standing right there, but they're posted guards.
Oh yeah, they're keeping.
Yeah,
You wrote, the chef guy table worked on it to get that feel. Is that when you watched the second time, you noticed how they were laid out?
Oh, so the show Chef's Table on Netflix does, like, for those of you who don't know, they go into restaurants like what this is supposed to be representing and show them making the food and like talk to the chef and all this stuff. They brought one of the, I think, creators or one of the main directors of photography in, and that's how they did like the shots of the people cooking. And that's why all the shots look like a Chef's Table type show. Of them cooking and when they do the plating and they show you the food and they show you what the ingredients are. Oh, it's so perfect. They do it so well.
I love that. I love that part just for the setup of the laughs at the end.
Oh my God.
This is listed as a black comedy and I didn't laugh that many times, but some of those title cards were the biggest laughs for me.
The last one.
Yeah.
The last title card. I crack up every time I see that.
Yeah.
It's so good. All right. So they're in the restaurant. The hostess always throws shade at Margot. Because she's not supposed to be there. And she knows that chef made this menu to work with the people that they invited. And this person might make that not work. And chef will talk about that later. And then the separation.
Yeah, it's hard to talk about that part without getting into spoilers, but I'm very
we're spoiling.
I'm very interested in that.
If you're,
but I don't want to spoil.
Oh yeah,
I don't want to spoil the parts we're going to talk about later.
I know. This is
because it got kind of muddy for me with her because there's also the competition aspect. But I can see what you're saying, like that it messes up the menu, and everyone's really invested in the menu.
The reveal of who Margot is.
Yeah.
I thought that was obvious when they got off the boat.
Really? Okay. I thought they were a new couple.
Oh.
Well, no, when they got off the boat and the name was mixed up, I was like, and he's like, oh, I'm sorry, and he didn't know her last name.
Oh, that's true. He didn't. I noticed that the second time.
I read it. I didn't see that reveal coming. I read it as just him being a rich guy who just like brought a last second date.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
I read it as he got dumped and then like had this thing and brought a last second date. And when she was like, it's your dime, I was just like, oh, he's just like so rich that this doesn't matter to him.
Yeah.
Which we don't even know if he's rich. He might just be a foodie douchebag.
His anxiousness makes me think maybe not. Like how and the contrast with the other characters that we'll get into.
Right. And then there's a separation of the server and the served. When they are sat, Margot mentions that you didn't ask his name when somebody serves, like, sits them or something. And he goes, yeah, well, you know. Like, he's not supposed to interact with the servers.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
so, like,
he didn't even be like, oh, oops, you know?
Yeah.
He just didn't care.
Nope, moved on. Then we do the amuse bouche, which I just wrote was goop, because by that time I forgot to write stuff down, but it's some goopy stuff. It was like
I've got it up if you want to.
The amuse bouche.
I pulled up a list with pictures of it.
Okay, what you got?
Jake. If you remember off the top of your head, that's more impressive.
I know it had the powdered or the snowed goat's milk.
Oh yeah, and the frozen peas or whatever.
Yep.
It
was. Yeah, well, it was flash frozen pickled melon.
Oh, okay.
And I'm looking at a picture. I'm pretty sure it was cantaloupe and honeydew.
Yeah.
And then like this pressed disc of some kind of seaweed.
Kale.
And then powdered milk.
Yeah, seaweed.
Yeah.
And then with the weird machine he knows about, and then the other guy knows about, but no one else.
Oh my god,
yeah.
that was where I was still like, he was obnoxious on the boat, but when he was like super into the machine, that felt so relatable, like just fanboying over something like that. Like, that's not necessarily douchey.
But that's where...
But I did love the reaction of the server, who was just like, oh, you're very knowledgeable, sir.
Uh-huh.
And just stroking his ego. And, like, even then it was clear it was, like, such a kind of sarcastic... it really was...
Oh, you really know your stuff. Yeah, like,
so
I've
fun.
said that before in retail. I know I've said that.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, you really know your stuff. In my head, I was like, God damn it, just move.
If you can know your stuff, you don't have to like show off.
No.
Yeah, it was great.
That's the part where she says you didn't ask his name too, is to that guy, in reference to that conversation.
That makes sense. He like came because I was thinking when you wrote it down, I didn't remember, and I was like, you know, waiters usually introduce themselves, but like if they don't, I wouldn't be like, wait, what's your name?
Yeah.
But like going up and having sparking up a conversation makes more sense. That it's weird not to talk to them.
But we're also the type that if
treat them as a prop as much as the thing.
Yeah. We're also the type that like if they drop some stuff, we'd help them pick it up. Whereas these people would just like continue with their eating and stuff. You know what I mean?
Oh,
that's the separation. I think.
Yeah, I'd feel, you know, the same thing too. Like if I drop something and the waiter comes over, I'd feel weird. I'm like, no, I dropped it. Let me pick it up.
Yeah, God. I spit on that napkin.
Yeah.
All right, first course, scallops on the rock with the flash frozen. I think they're flash frozen. I don't know. Somewhat frozen flora and fauna from around the island. This is where the claps start, and I think the claps are really important because Margot reacts to them differently as they go. The rest of the cast reacts to them differently as they go, and the old couple reacts to them differently as they go too. And we'll talk about that as we get there. But it really just shows like who's in charge and the power dynamic that Ray Fiennes has, Chef Slowick. And the servers at this point are over your shit. Like they're just gonna start giving you things and not giving a shit. And I really like the critics. Every time they went to the critic to explain the dish to the guy that she was with, she literally reworded everything that the chef just said, but with the wrong interpretation. Like the chef explains how like nature's all part of this and like we're not worthy of it and you're just going to experience what this island has to offer. And she's like, oh, we're eating the ocean, right? And then the guy's like, oh, yeah. Like she restates everything he says been the wrong way. I thought that view of like critic versus artist is so fun and interesting in this idea.
Yeah, I really liked, I loved the dynamic between the critic and her toady.
The yes man.
So much. Yeah, her hype man.
The Flava Flav to her whatever Anthony Bourdain, but not a cook part.
Yeah. I can't remember where it is in the movie where also he gives a better interpretation and then she rewords it exactly the same way. She just rewords the same idea.
All she does. And he's like, oh, yeah. No, that's good. Yeah.
Yeah, she's literally just digesting like and spewing it out incorrectly.
Yep.
Oh, man.
So good. And then the actor is the bad part of art again. Like we just find out more and more about how he's like a dick and just doing it for money. And it's like this like regurgitation of like the same idea, but I'm here just to travel. And like they're talking about pitching that show that he wants to be a part of. And she's like, no, like you have to care. Like, tell me about it. And he's like, nah, whatever. We'll do this. South Africa. 6 months later, we'll go here. Like, yeah.
Yeah. What struck me about that was how him being at this restaurant, like someone who clearly could not give less of a shit about food. Like there are surely some actors who would like care about this, like, you know, Anthony Bourdain, what his show, I haven't seen it, but like I know from like seeing clips of it that like he really brings something to it.
Yeah.
This guy's just like, yeah, we'll fucking do that. Like, he has no idea what he's talking about.
Right. It's
and just wants to do it for the money.
Yeah. He wants to be famous. He is an actor to be famous rather than to be an actor.
Yeah.
And I think that's why Chef Slug brought him in, because he could see that in that movie that we find out about later.
And all of his, you know, like when they're on the boat, when they're doing the tour, everywhere he goes, he tries to make it seem like he doesn't want to be famous and recognized. But then as soon as anything happens, he just really leans into it.
Yep. And he always has to make the joke. Like they get on the boat, makes a joke. Goes to the sea cap, the guy getting scallops, makes a joke. Like he always has to be that guy. Yeah.
Center of attention.
Who's that like? That's fucking weird. Who makes jokes? All right, second course, not bread.
That wasn't a dig.
The second course, not bread, is the little 5 pallets of oil and other things.
Possibly my favorite course.
So good.
That cracked me up. Because at that point, I'm like, I'm just enjoying, because the first 2 courses were just awesome, right?
Yeah.
And they
actually reasonable, what you would expect.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then they bring that out, and then you're like, okay, he's fucking with them, right? Like he's making fun of them. I don't know. I was trying to figure out what he was doing at that point.
His speech is the perfect, like, such a fuck you to them, and and again, Margot's the only one who gets it.
Yeah.
But this was my absolute favorite course because I think it's the most where you get like really crystallize every single person's character. Every single person reacts to it in a completely different way that shows you exactly what they're about.
Yes.
Like Tyler obviously like does not understand, but is like, this is amazing.
Yeah.
And Margot tries to push him on it, challenge him and be like, why is this amazing? And he has no answer. And he's just like, you just don't get it.
Yeah. It's a game. You'll get it at the end. Like that's what that line is. Yeah.
I want to go through each one, but you guys
go for it.
Tell me yours. No, I'm saying like that. What if you have ones as well?
I thought that the way that he introduced the meal is the best way he could stroke the ego while showing them he's going to be a dick the rest of the night. This is like the Fly episode of Breaking Bad. This is the turning point for the whole movie. This is where
we got him.
Shit. Yep. This is where shit hits the fan. Is after this course. So that's what I really liked about it. It was a perfect setup for everything else.
I like what you said about the perfect way to insult them, because he says like, bread is the food of the common man, and you're not the common man, and that can be interpreted as good, but also not.
Yep. Depends on what side of the line you're on, right? Server or the served. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, the crypto bros were literally, that's where they pull out that who we're connected, our connections. Can we get some bread?
Yep. And where Elsa puts him in and goes, you'll eat less than you want and more than you deserve. And I was like, oh,
yes.
Fuck.
Oh, that was where she stopped being like, this is the rules, and just straight up insults them.
Yep. Or
so good.
The next course.
And it's just, she whispers it into his ear.
She's even funnier in the next course. I love that one. But yeah, go on. Yeah.
The critic we've already covered that, but just interprets it, just is desperately trying to interpret something and looks at something. Isn't that where she finds she's like, this emulsion is a little broken.
Yeah.
That
was the part for me that was
and
her.
Then especially the second time that they brought it out.
Oh, it's so good.
Oh man, that was great.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's like the perfect crystallization for me, and the toady just going along. The rich couple just like not getting it and just not caring at all. I'm pretty sure they're just chatting about like what they're gonna do next, or chatting about some other time while this course is going on. Like, they're not even trying to experience.
It's so perfect for their character because they're the jaded old rich couple, right? They've done this 11 times.
Like, this isn't important to them.
This doesn't mean anything to them anymore. Just like everything else in their life, right? We know that, we find out later, especially, but you can kind of tell there's some deep-seatedness there.
Yeah. And I don't remember the actor's response. I think it was the weakest one for me, but I think he probably just cracked jokes.
Yeah.
Once you said that, I'm pretty sure he just like made a joke out of it. It was like, this is funny, but like, yeah, just not trying to engage with it at all.
I think that's where
trying to figure out what the hell is.
That's where the assistant starts to like hand off the stuff to him too. I think it's like, all right, here's all your stuff. Here's all that. I'm leaving, like that kind of thing.
Oh yeah, that was probably that part of that. Yeah.
All right. Course number.
Yeah. So yeah, it was just like perfect.
Yeah.
Crystallization of like who they were.
Yeah. Yeah. It slowly unravels. Like the menu itself makes them realize who they are, and I think we'll talk about that at the end. The third course, chicken taco thigh night. Incredible. Incredible. Here's one thing though that I noticed on the second watch. The old couple seems uncomfortable before the story starts, so I think that they know where it's going because he said it's a staple since day one.
Yeah, so that's always been there. That's how I took that too.
Yeah.
Because they've clearly heard that before, and
they weren't shocked by that, but everybody else started to be with the tortilla trick that was new. Elsa telling those people like, "What is this? It's a tortilla." Over and over.
Yes.
That was so good.
Yeah, that might have been our funniest line.
Yes. And I think that this is where we start to see the chef being sincere to Margot that you shouldn't be here. And he's actually, I think at the beginning he is definitely worried about her and wants her to leave. And there's a moment where I think she could have left and she didn't. And we'll talk about that later on. But I think this is the part where we find him and her talking. And I think he's sincere in his delivery of "you shouldn't be here tonight," telling her to leave.
Oh yeah, I think that's like obvious in retrospect, and I love how unclear it is. Like, that is not. I mean, I did not see that coming at all. Like not knowing what this movie was about at all. Yeah. I was not yet in the mind frame of like, oh god. I mean, obviously it's this course where it really turns. Yeah. But so yeah, like he's just being a complete dick. I'm just still trying to figure out what this guy is, like what the chef is. Yeah. And I thought he was just insane and just furious. I thought he was I was reading it still then as him being like obsessive and upset that she was messing up the plan that he had for the night. But I did not know what that plan was, and I thought that anger was purely like artistic.
Sure.
And it's so great that in retrospect, it's clear that he cares, that she's like he knows that she really doesn't deserve it.
Yeah, he can see that right away, which is so cool that like he's been around the served so many times that he knows she's not one of them. Like she's not that. The tortilla tricks were great. The finance bros getting hit with all that tax evasion shit and like fake scripts, and the wife of the old couple seeing the him on dates with other people, and Tyler's getting pictures of him taking pictures of the food, which he knows is like the only thing they could insult him on at this point is like, you're being a dick in front of the chef, because like he already knows what's going to happen.
that was funny to me too, because I mean, like literally just now thinking back, because I didn't know at the time that he knew what was going to happen.
Yeah.
Why is he taking pictures?
Yeah.
He literally.
Oh my god.
He knows these pictures are never going to be seen, shared, looked at again. He still can't help himself.
Holy shit.
Do you really think he believed that he was going to die at the end of 100%. The night?
Oh yeah.
Really?
His character
I think so too.
Me to that conclusion. 100%. He will do anything for that guy.
I did.
That's why it's so perfect the way that he made him die.
I loved that. Yeah, I still at that time I didn't think that he really when he came to the island, I didn't interpret it as he believed that that's what was going to happen.
Right.
I thought he was just like this is all. He kept saying it's a game. You know, I thought he thought that this was like something else was going to happen.
A performance thing.
Yeah, that's what I thought on the first viewing. 100%. But by the time I watched it the second time, you can kind of see it happen, and you're like, "Damn, his performance is so good," because he's straddling that line of like, "Don't know versus no." Do you want to pause and get that?
Interesting.
It's up to you.
Interesting.
I think I'll
reminder to Jake that we are recording video.
I know, yeah, that's why it's bothering me so much. Normally I wouldn't care.
Hey, there we go.
But I wouldn't be able to see your pretty face.
That's good enough.
Now it's like you're in what's his face movie, the guy with all the lens flares. Who's that guy?
J.J. Abrams.
Yeah. You're in a J. Abrams movie.
How did Nate know that?
That's impressive.
I've just been studying the names of people in the cinema industry so that I continue to win every game.
Oh my! You won one game.
Well, the next one's about movie
you get
names.
An ego.
I will soon be known as the champion.
All right. Well, then you have to play me in a game. That's the champion level.
Only if you promise to double your gummy count.
All right, I'm down. I can do that.
Pop, pop. All
you
right.
You don't know how I watch Jeopardy every night, do you? So that's the third course, chicken thigh taco night. Fourth course is the mess, and this is where shit hits the fan, like officially. The last one's weird, but it's weird only to a point. This one is where you start to go, what the fuck?
I mean, it's like a perfect like jackknife escalation.
Yeah.
I was to say the third course was the first one where I was like, oh, this is sinister rather than just like interesting.
Yes.
I think one of my favorite parts of the movie is I had absolutely no idea what was going to happen or expect. I knew that it was a restaurant and that it was a thriller, but like I was not expecting murder.
No.
But anyway, this is where it goes nuts.
So before going into this movie, I just, no trailers. I looked at a couple of descriptions, and it was like, oh, and these fine diners go, but it's a something about the food and it's a twist they don't expect. My whole thought up until this dish was that this chef is like feeding them people or something.
Yeah.
Sure.
And then especially that was reinforced when they were making a big deal about the smokehouse.
Yeah,
I'm like, oh, I bet
scary.
I'm like, I bet they're like feeding them people, and they're going to reveal that at the end.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Damn, that's a good point. Yeah. Did you think that Jeremy wanted to kill himself in that moment, or did it feel like, because the emotions on his face are definitely like depression and sadness, but do you think that's him accepting his fate, or him like not sure he wants to go through with it in that moment?
Like thinking back on it at the end of the movie, because I did think about that. I think that maybe part of him was upset that he didn't get to stay till the end, and that's what upset him.
Damn.
Because all of the chefs it's like a cult, they were all dedicated to this.
Right.
And so I don't think he was any different. I think part of what upset him was that he never got to see it through to the end. So he never got to see this perfect dish. That's
so true. I like that a lot.
Yeah, that's really interesting because I thought a lot about like what were these people, like what was this, what went on before we saw this, that it's like a cult. That was one of the things that was the biggest like dangling question for me, is like, how did he get these people invested in this or break them in such a way that it's just like, it is absolutely a cult.
Yeah.
How long were they there? What were they doing? I'm so curious.
Well, even when you see their bunker or their cabin, their dwelling, and whatever they live there, but the fact that what freaked me out was that the toilets were just there.
We're open.
No stalls, no anything, just toilets in the middle of the room, and I'm like, there's something, that's when I started thinking like, these people are weird.
Yeah, on a pedestal almost. And the line that he does of like, mine is the only kind of art that literally turns into shit in your stomach is so good.
Yeah.
When he says that. Oh my God, I love that line.
Yeah.
But
yeah, as you said that about the he was sad he didn't get to see it. That's really interesting, because I thought it was really interesting that as I was thinking about it as a cult, you might have, like, if an actor read that he's like they're in this cult and he's like really kicking off this menu, you could have played it as like giddy, like which would have been also very creepy. But he's so sad, like all the way through.
Yeah,
I think it makes sense with what they're saying, but like I could also see it as being like a big part in it. And instead, it's just he's the saddest person until Tyler.
We're kind of rooting for Tyler to do that towards that point of the movie. You're like, oh, hell yeah.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Then the finger gets cut off. And it's the ring finger on the wedding hand. Hilarious.
Yeah. That was a not so subtle.
Yeah.
Well, because when they brought out the tortillas, as soon as she was, you thought it was weird too, even when because again, I had that feeling about Margot, right from the start. So then when the wife was like, "Do you know her? Do you know?" And then I'm like, "Oh yeah, he knows her."
That starts.
That is a weird coincidence. Now that I think about it, that is one weird thing in the movie.
Yeah. Do you think she's been there before?
Who?
Margot? Do you think he took her there?
No, I don't think he took her there because this was all new to her.
Right.
And he would have known her then, yeah.
Oh, sure.
The chef, and he didn't.
That's true.
But, yes, and then, so then when they showed the tortilla and she's like, who's you with this woman? Then he's been cheating. So then when they say you're cutting off a finger, all right, we'll choose for you. I'm like,
Yeah. That's great.
I will say the finger is really important to me too, because even up until then, even when the sous chef shot himself, I still was thinking that this was just a crazy cult, like delivering this insane experience. I thought they were like making a statement in the movie, making a statement about like how fucked up these people are and how like they treat servers. But I still didn't expect that they were going to kill them.
Right.
And the finger is the real turn for me on that, where it's like, oh no, like as soon as they, bring him back, I'm like, oh, they're all gonna die. Oh, okay.
Yeah. This is the end for everybody. Yeah.
But I did love you kind of got into a little bit all the rationalizations from everyone. Like no one was nervous except for the wife of the husband and wife and Margot. Everyone else was like playing it off like, oh, he's in on it.
Right.
Yeah.
A, because the husband and wife have seen it before and they know it's going really weird now. And B, Margot knows none of this is right because this is all fucking weird. Like, this ain't some rich shit. Yeah. So the fourth
this ain't some rich shit. That's great.
So the chef takes Margot back again and says, "All right, you have 15 minutes to tell me what your decision is on what side you're gonna die on." And he gives her an out later that we'll get to. Now the fifth course, the palate cleanser, which I think is an interesting name and course because I feel like this is where the tone shifts completely for the movie too. So it's like a genre cleanser almost as well. Like up to this point, it's kind of a thriller. Maybe not even. Maybe just like an interesting character piece. But now it turns into like horror thriller territory, which I really like.
Yeah.
Everybody gets the reason for being there. Chef goes down and undresses each one of them for why they're a piece of shit and why they should be there, which is great. And this is where he does the turns to shit in your gut line, which I really liked. I like this a lot. And still, Tyler's sitting there, Chef, am I getting a hint of whatever he says in this? And Chef's like,
that was also a laugh out loud moment for me when everyone else is freaking out and he's still just trying.
He's still trying to make the chef love him.
Yeah. Well, it's funny, because right before that, the chef is like, all right, the floor is open. Does anyone have any questions, about me or about Hawthorne? And that was his question. Like, you have this guy that's clearly setting you up and, and doing all this stuff. And your question is, am I detecting a hint of bergamot?
Yeah, what a fucking idiot.
At this point, had they done the that investor?
I think so. I think the investor was the fifth course.
Okay.
Yeah, because it all kind of happens at once.
Yeah, well, that this one. That's when because the tech bro or the finance bros are trying to talk their way out of it.
Oh, that's right. He tries to break the window and shit, and then she sits him down, and then he says,
He shows him the angel investor.
Oh my god, that's horrifying too. just getting slowly lowered to your death. Holy shit. And listen. And then Tyler's sitting there with his eyes closed, like trying to get it. Like, oh, yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
Such an idiot.
Yeah, the silence. He's like, I can hear it. I can hear it.
It's fucking cool. So that's the fifth course.
Oh, my God.
And then they go outside for the sixth course, Man's Folly, where Catherine, one of the other chefs, goes on a story about how Chef Slovic tried to make sexual advances towards her. She said no a couple times, and then he just didn't talk to her for 6 months. So she stabs him in the thigh with those scissors, which is what he did to his dad when he was trying to kill his mom. And then they give the men 45 seconds to try to get away. And every man, except for Tyler, tries to make it sound like, I'll come back for you. Like, they all think they're going to make it, which I think is hilarious. And it just proves, like, man's folly. Like, right there.
Oh, yeah.
They're all, like, telling their whoever they're with, like, I'm sorry, I'll send help. Like, I'll get you. And then they just take off. And none of them make it, which is awesome. And the women are just in the back kind of getting to know each other. And I think this is where the wife realizes who Margot is and how Margot knows the husband. Do we know, has Margot already told Chef what she did? Or is that next? That's next, isn't it?
Yes. When he is it?
It's...
I guess they might have had multiple conversations.
They had three
in the office.
Yeah, they had. It's the second one
in the office.
So it must have been in the office. It was already happened. Where she says that he paid her to stand in front of her while he masturbates and pretend to be his daughter, and that was just like, oh my god, like oh. And the wife keeps bringing it up early in the movie, like, oh, she looks just like her daughter, and he's like, no, don't stop saying that.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah. So
gross.
And then the last person gets a Passard egg, which I don't know anything about. I was going to look it up beforehand, but I'll do it right now. So what do you guys have to say about this?
I really wanted to know the rest of the rule explanation, because he's like, he was saying, okay, the men get a 45-second head start to leave, and if you get caught, and then one guy just takes off, and he goes, all right, the time starts now. And I was so mad. I would have been so mad if I was on that island, because I would have been like, no, the time doesn't start. Finish telling me the rules.
Yeah, let's get some more rules here.
I absolutely would have been furious if I was there. But I loved it in the movie, because then you're just like, oh, fuck, are they all going to die? Like, they make it worse for themselves, because the answer couldn't have been anything but we bring you back.
Right.
Because that's what they do. But I thought they were going to kill all the men, and I was like, God damn, this is... And it lets you believe that.
Well, that's why I was thinking, too. I was like, I think Tyler might be the smart one here, because he didn't run. And I was thinking it's probably worse if you run and get caught than if you don't run. Mm-hmm. But then he made Tyler run.
Yeah. And then you see him like peeking through the window trying to see what they're eating.
Yeah, he didn't even try and get away.
So good.
I guess that's the most convincing evidence that he actually thought they were going to die.
Yeah.
I guess he could go either way. He does not take it seriously, or he's just that fucking obsessive. But
both, yeah.
That was great.
Which is why his character's written so well, because you could see either side of it very easily.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
One thing that I thought was really interesting here was that I was thinking about whether the chef is doing this as like an apology to the sous chef, or whether it's just he thinks an interesting, and that it just enhances the menu. Because like it gives, like, it's like we're dying. Like I'll give you a chance to be in a starring role and like call me out on this, or whether he just thought it fit well.
No,
I can't decide what the answer is.
He did say that was her dish. So it was her idea to do that dish, just like the mess.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that was the thing too. He said that the mess was the creation of that other chef,
of Jeremy. Yeah.
Yeah.
True.
So does he work with his two sous chefs, and they go through this whole story, and then he's like, okay, what do you want to do? And they're his two highest acolytes.
Yeah.
And they both want to like up the violence
of
what he's trying to do.
Abby and I watched this, and she said that the perfect prequel is them planning the dinner. Like the whole movie is just them planning the dinner, and then the perfect like sequel to this would be Anya Taylor-Joy's character going back to the real world and figuring out like, do I tell anybody? Does anybody know about this? Like that kind of thing. I think that'd be really cool to see.
Yeah, there's gonna be some questions.
Yeah. Hey, where'd everybody go? Don't know.
Yeah, that's great. Also, this sous chef was my third laugh out loud line when they're talking about it and trying to talk her out of she's like, oh no, that was my idea.
Because the food critic was like trying to bribe her and be like, you should get your own place. I could help with that.
Yep.
That
was great.
Just corruption all the way down.
So then
but yeah, when she was so excited, that really made me laugh. It was so charming.
So good. Then they walk all the boys back. Everybody gets back to their seat. And then we do the reveal that Tyler knew the whole time that everyone was going to die. And Chef says that this is inaudible. So I think this is where Chef is trying to let Margot go, right? He's trying to give her a way out. So Chef takes care of Tyler by having him cook, and it's hilariously bad. And he just shits on him. But he whispers something in his ear, and then he goes, hangs himself, which I thought was so good. Like the perfect way for Tyler to die.
One thing I really liked was watching him try to cook, because I get nerves, but like he's still like he's passing him off as his foodie. I guess I don't know, dude, if some foodies don't cook themselves, if they just like to go and experience the food. But he was so bad at cooking. Yeah. Like, I am not a cook, but like he was so bad.
Maybe he is rich.
Well, I think they want you to think that he cooks because he has one of those machines.
Yeah, exactly. That's what made me think that he was like, I was like, how are you so bad at this?
But I think he wants other people to think he cooks. That's the other big thing. That's his whole personality, like Taylor was saying.
That's what I really enjoyed. I enjoyed seeing how bad he was.
Yeah.
It's another really revealing character moment for him.
It's great.
Like, if you have any competence, you could have done something. Yeah.
So then
he cooked the pork chop for like a minute.
Yeah.
I think it's done. Oh, this is good. Everybody look around. We're going to see a new way to chop leeks. Like he's just...
Oh,
yeah. And then the shallots, he just cut the shallots like in half.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Did you say the name of this dish?
Tyler's Bullshit.
On the menu card? Tyler's Bullshit. Yeah.
It was good. And then the chef takes Margot aside. This is where he tells her to go get the barrel. So here's two things I think about this. The barrel's not needed for the s'mores. Although we see it at the end, it's on the table. I think there's another barrel somewhere. He never told Elsa about it because he didn't think we needed it. And I think this was his way to get Margot out. He expected her to do the selfish thing and leave. But instead, she did the righteous thing and try to come back for everybody because she is a server, not those who are served. So I think that's when he starts to turn and be like, all right, fuck you, you're dying then, when she comes back. Because she's trying to ruin his menu when the Coast Guard comes in. And I think that's when he turns to like, all right, you're dying too.
I really liked when I read your comment about this because I did not see that, but I 100% think you're right. I interpreted it as him just recruiting, like bringing her into the crew. And as soon as you said that and I thought about it, I thought there's no fucking way that any of them would have messed up and forgotten something.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I think you're totally right that he was giving her an out. I did not think that when I saw the movie. No. I thought he just thought everyone agrees with me and she's just now part of the crew, you know. He's trying to like make her part of the cult like he did everyone else. Because that's a very cult move, also like dissing his like one of his high level lieutenants and saying, I'm giving you this very important job.
Yes.
I took it as him trying to recruit her.
Yeah.
But I think you're very right that it's actually him trying to like let her escape.
And the fact that he did it in front of Elsa is like Elsa's way to show her. Like I don't think he thought Elsa would do what she did because I don't think he noticed the other things she was doing to Margot throughout the night. Like I think Elsa knew before Chef did that Margot was out, like different. You know what I mean?
Yeah. This is where she's like looking up to the cult. She's trying to impress him still, and he did not see that.
Yep.
Did you notice when Margot and Elsa were fighting, and Margot hits Elsa with that machine? That she just pulls it off the counter and bam, and hits her.
Yeah.
It's that powder machine that Tyler said.
No way.
I have one of those. Yeah.
Oh my God, that's great.
That is great.
What a good, just so many good movie moments in this.
Yeah.
I think that is part of this. I don't know who wrote this, but
Seth
I think
Reese
a lot of this movie
and Will
is
Tracy. Don't know there.
I don't know.
No.
But just that I think a lot of the movie is about like the obsessiveness of art.
Yeah.
And I think that they probably can relate because I'm pretty sure it's one of those movies that like every detail is thought out.
These writers previously worked for Late Night with Seth Meyers, Comedy Bang Bang, and The Onion. So that's why it's so bitingly funny in moments. Also, on Succession and Last Week Tonight.
Okay, well, and there's the attention to detail.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
The director directed some of Succession, Game of Thrones, Shameless, bunch of other stuff. And then she called the Coast Guard, and the Coast Guard shows up, which is wild. Such a good turn. But before that, we get some funny lines, including the assistant to John Leguizamo, where he's trying to like help her, and he's like, "Well, why is she here? What's she doing here?" And the chef goes, "Where did you go to college?" And she goes, "Brown." And he goes, "Do you have any student loans?" And she goes, "No." And he goes, "Well, you're dying."
Yeah.
So good.
That was a great line.
Like we're on the chef's side at that point. We're kind of relating to it. Like, yeah, fuck a killer. That's hilarious.
Yeah. Because at that point, you're just convinced, like, okay, all these people can die.
Yep.
You know, but it did occur to me at like slightly before that. I was like, she's kind of the odd one out. Well, and the other one too is the jaded rich wife.
Yep.
Like, you know, it's like, okay, maybe she's not the greatest person, but what did she really do?
Yeah, and she plays an important part at the end, I think. But that's about it.
Yeah.
I think of all the people, the rich couple were like the people I was the least excited to see die.
Yeah.
Like I think that part of that for me was that like this movie is a split between like these people are awful and like the chef has been pushed to his breaking point. Like some of the other stuff like the finance bros and the food critic who's just a total hypocrite and an asshole and like ruining people's lives. We are ready to be like, yeah, fuck those people.
Yeah.
But the rich people were more offensive to the chef.
Yes.
They were more offensive to an artist who were like, don't appreciate it.
Yep.
And I could see that where they were more of a personal grudge for the chef.
Yeah. Yep.
Because, you know, at the end, and the chef's aware of this too. It's not like he's ignorant of it, but he's not saying I'm a good person and you're not. You know, we're all going down here.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's really important too.
Yeah, and so I think he was like thinking on it now. I think he was totally willing to kill people who were, you know, probably mostly innocent, just because of a personal grudge.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think they represented like excess of privilege, but I don't think I wasn't like, yeah, they should die.
Yeah. Yeah.
As much.
Yeah. Then we have the fake birthday where they bring out the birthday cake to the finance bros. And it's the trailer line, if you did watch the trailer, where they bring it out and they set the cake down. He's like, "You told him it was my birthday?" And the guy goes, "It was funny like 3 hours ago." Which is so good. And then the chef keeps talking and he says, did he just quote Martin Luther King? Like that's what John Leguizamo says to another one of the bros. They had some good lines in there. Then the Coast Guard guy shows up, and I think first watch through, it's an amazing moment because you're like pretty sure they're going to get out and like everything's going to be fine. And then he lights the candle that the chef just put out and you're like, fuck, God damn it. He got me again. That's really good.
I didn't think they were going to get out. I thought the Coast Guard guy was going to die.
Oh, I agree.
Some way.
I thought the chefs were just going to
slice him up.
But I can see how it turns from like, it was like one of the most tense scenes to probably really funny on the second watch around.
Yes, it was. Yeah,
I pictured too them because they had to what'd you say, they had to improvise that, and they still got in a bit about making the actor sign an autograph just to give him a chance to try to ask for help and to make fun of him at the same
100%.
time.
I love that movie.
He's like,
that movie's so good.
Specifically that movie. Yeah, the irony on the second.
And the actor looks at the chef when he says that movie. He goes, "Oh yeah, you liked it, huh?"
Yeah.
The audacity.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So while Margot's in the other restaurant, she looks in the silver door that we see in the first restaurant that we never actually go inside. And in that silver door, there's like the shrine, all the old stuff that the chef did, including the last time it looked like he had fun cooking, which was making cheeseburgers. So she comes back. She thinks she's going to die. Well, she's pretty sure she's going to die. And she finds the one way out, which is, I think it's interesting. It's important that she is a service worker, like a sex service worker, because her whole job is to please men and get away and leave, right? That's like the job of a hooker or whatever. Please men and leave, an escort. So she finds a way to please him and leave by getting the cheeseburger to go. And I think that's just an incredible moment for her. The second time watching it, I put that all together a lot more. The first time I was like, damn, that's smart. Get him to make the cheeseburger. Her. But then all the other stuff started trickling in the second time. And he smiled for the first time while he's making this burger. And the way that she watches her eat is like, she won at that point. And when she's walking out, she has this like moment of, should I go back again and try to help them, which she did do the last time. And the old lady gives her like the go, like, we got this. I was like, damn, that old lady just saved everybody. Or saved her anyway. Like, kind of gave her forgiveness, told her, we got this. Yeah. We deserve this. You don't, kind of thing.
Yeah, I think on the first watch, the figuring out how to please him, I really like that. I think my interpretation was that she was reminding him, like, she was giving him one last like actual pleasurable experience. And so when you said like, oh yeah, that's her job, I was like, oh god damn, like yeah, she's a pro. Yeah. Like just like that understanding of psychology. That not just sex workers, but also service people that anyone who works in the service industry has to have. Yeah. To survive.
Yeah, and I think that proved to him, maybe subconsciously, that she is a server, not a served, and that kind of let him, okay, you should go. Yeah, like he brought him back to that.
I would also say I'm pretty certain that he was fully aware, like when she asked for it, when he's and then too when she goes, can I get the rest to go? He thinks it's not like he thinks about it and he's not really sure and he decides yes. So I think he knows like, okay, I wouldn't even call it manipulation, because I think to be manipulated, there kind of has to be a thing of you don't know you're being manipulated.
Right.
But I think he's fully aware, like, oh, okay, I sort of got played here. She must have gotten in the silver room. She saw that. But I think he decided, even knowing that, okay, I'll let her go.
Yeah.
Yeah, you said, like, when we were talking that you didn't think he was fooled. Like, I agree. I don't think he was fooled. I think he just appreciated it. Yeah. I think he had been obsessing over this menu for probably months, year, whatever. Mm-hmm. He was so wrapped up in thinking about how much he hated everything, and she reminded him, and he has like a knowing smile when she orders the burger. She just said the thing that reminded him of like what he actually loves in the world, and it was like releasing her was appreciation for that.
Yeah. And by the way, if you are under the influence when you watch this movie and you get to the cheeseburger scene, you pull out DoorDash and you order the first cheeseburger you see, because that thing looks so good.
That cheeseburger looked amazing.
I was sitting there last night and I was just like,
I learned how to properly make a burger.
God damn it, I want that. Oh, it looks so good. Yeah.
I have that argument with people all the time about American cheese.
Yes.
Because like you hit a level of like food sophistication and you're like, oh, American cheese, blah, blah, blah. It's like American cheese is really good and it has a purpose.
Exactly. And he knew it right away.
Exactly. A purpose. The explanation is so good.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
So I'm one of those snobs that is like would not use American cheese, even though I did as a child growing up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I love that explanation.
That's great. So she escapes, and then we get to the final course, the s'mores, which he explains is like an offense on all taste, which I disagree with because I fucking love s'mores.
I thought that was a bit harsh.
Yeah,
but
s'mores are awesome.
I wonder if there's anyone who is on the chef's side for that.
I don't know.
We have the same thing. We're like, fuck you, don't like s'mores.
Yeah.
Maybe that was the moment he wanted. Maybe that was the thing that the writers thought would make us want all of them to die at that point, is that you don't like s'mores.
Oh yeah, they got to a point. They did a first shot of the film, and they were like, everyone's being sad when the chef kills himself.
All right, throw this line. Hey, Ray Fiennes, talk about how shitty s'mores are for about 5 minutes here real quick. Okay. And I like how they all gave up to the point where like a string of marshmallows made them not able to like fight back even anymore. Like they put this armor over them, but it's just marshmallows. And they're like, oh, I can't get out.
Yeah. And because by then they'd given up. Like every single person there knew they were going to die.
But they accepted it. That was the big key.
I think part of it, like on some of their faces where there was still terror, some of them accepted it. I think the wife kind of like closed her eyes. The finance bros looked scared.
One of them said, "Thank you."
This is just so surreal. Like this is like being like in a satanic, like being sacrificed in a satanic ritual. I think they were just like paralyzed by how insane it was.
I took it as the menu worked. Like the chef said that the theme of this movie is that the menu has to work. Like all this stuff is going to lead to this end point, and it'll work, and it did, because he is that good at making food and putting it together that by the end they all felt like shit and felt like they deserved to die. I think.
Yeah, like he entranced them.
As Margot's eating her burger and wiping her mouth with the menu that he put together because she didn't even buy it.
That was a great touch, the menu.
That was nice.
Oh, I was going to say, too, you said she didn't buy. I feel like part of the escaping, too, was, he talks a lot about, because a lot of it's about how these people who, like, consume this culture and don't think about it. When she asked him, like, went through the routine of asking him how much it was going to cost.
Yeah.
And like showing that she's never done something like this where you don't even like, there's no prices involved. And all that went through the whole routine.
Oh,
I thought that was really
and
good.
made it a combo meal. Does it come with fries?
Yeah.
When he tells her the price at $9.75, just like that come with fries.
Does that come with fries? One thing that very minorly bugged me is she left a 10. So she didn't. I feel like she would have tipped.
And
he's
good point.
He did say that. When he was giving a speech at the end, he said that gratuity was included, but she was already gone by then.
Yep.
That's my one very minor thing. Yeah, one very minor thing that I think would have made this movie just a little bit better was I think she should have tipped.
That's where you should have thrown in the gratuities included line. Is there? She should have put 12 down, and he would have said tips included, and then
Oh yeah, grab her too before she leaves. Yeah,
that would have been cool.
Yeah,
but that is a good point. I didn't think of that, but I like that. That would be a nice change. So let's go through some of the questions that we thought of while we were watching this movie. I think some of them we can skip because we already kind of went over it. What makes this movie good or bad? The last hour of conversation. What are some takeaways of this movie? Again, last hour of conversation. So do you think we're supposed to be on the side of the chef? And if so, were you?
I think it changes throughout the movie. I think at the start you're on the side of the guests, or at least some of them. Obviously, you hate some of them right off the bat.
Sure.
And then a little bit into the movie, you're on the side of the chef and the staff. And then by the end, you're really just on Margot's side.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I think the same.
I think you can agree with the chef on some things, but he's still a nut job.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I really like what I can't remember which one you said, that like by the end it's clear that he doesn't say like I'm good and you're bad. He's like I've destroyed my own life. So when it was just taking them down, obviously you're like the chef is winning your even the first two courses that are like normal courses, and he's just being like a total freak. Not knowing what the movie's about, I was like, is this just about this insane dude? And like he's like you kind of get a feel for some of the characters and that they're all douchey, but like I'm ready for the finance bros to die. But it's at that point I'm just like, oh, this chef's such a pretentious dick. And then as it goes on, you realize like he's broken.
Yeah.
he's like his life has been destroyed,
and they broke
both
him.
by himself and by his customers.
Yeah.
And he hates them, and it and then you like hate the all of the customers, and then as he starts to like commit violence, you're like, oh man, like there is no sympathy in this movie. And obviously, except for Margot, which is why she's there. You have to have a self-insert character.
Yeah.
It'd be weird if just everyone died. I mean, it'd be great. It would just be a much bleaker movie.
Right.
That would not have had as much mass appeal.
No.
I would have liked it.
What happened to the Coast Guard guy?
He was he was
one of the waiters.
Yeah, he took his jacket off and turned back into one of the
so he
waiters.
just rejoined.
In the background, they're changing him back into his costume, again, like a cult. Like there's people putting things onto him. Yeah,
it's wild. What was one of the messages about commodification of art in general, and was it pretentious?
Yeah, so I wrote this. I was thinking about it over the last like couple days about, again, with the chef. He's talking about like how much he hates these people. Like he hates the rich couple who just like eats his food and doesn't appreciate it, doesn't think about it. And part of me is thinking like he's the one who's charging that much for his food.
Yeah.
Like, obviously it's going to cost more for this preparation and stuff, but he's the one who brings himself to this level where the art that he wants to be appreciated can only be afforded by people who can't appreciate it.
Do you think that's all him though, or do you think that's partly like the world that he lives in, the critic world of like, if he made a burger, they would just
that's where the commodification, and that's why the critic is there, I think, because he's like having to compete, and that makes it go up, and then he's at a point where like he's making art and no one can appreciate it.
Yeah, it's kind of like this.
And Taylor says something really, really, really interesting that goes with that line of the shit line, is that we were talking about whether this is about art in general, like also like artists, as they become more successful, art is only bought by the incredibly rich, and like the stereotype is that it's stored in like a warehouse, and a lot of fine art is just a business. It's all kind of like almost a scam, like a business. But at least for like paintings and stuff that becomes great work, a lot of it ends up in a museum where even though it's owned by a rich person, there are other artists can appreciate it. And like food might be one of the only things where that's not the case. Like that food turns into shit, and there's no one except for them there that can appreciate it.
True. Damn. Yeah, that's very true.
And and also this actually exists. This food, like I'm sure there are people who appreciate it. And who can afford it, but it's like a small intersection.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So you're
go ahead.
Nope, you got it.
Oh, just like, there are people who like save up and like it's a huge treat. Like, we're not at $1,200 a head, but we'll, go to a dinner for like $100 and like can't stop thinking about it. But the old couple who just like, this is just their dinner.
Yeah.
Like
they do act like they're at home.
That
like
was
the conversations that they have.
I know. It was so like, they're not talking about the food once.
Nope. Couldn't name
so
the food
gross
that he had the last time he was there.
Yeah. Oh, and because for a second you thought that was a like a little redeeming moment for the wife when she's like, cod.
Yep.
It's like, it wasn't cod.
She didn't even know.
It's just some fucking fish. Yeah. It's nuts.
So would you eat a $1,250 per head at restaurant if you could? And let me add to this. Now that you've seen this movie, would you think about that as you're shitting the next day too?
Ooh, I would say
you got to save that shit.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm tempted to say yes, but also I feel like I'd get more value out of like 6 $200 meals than one $1,200 meal.
Sure.
I think there's like a realistic limit to how much you can enjoy a single meal and experience like that.
Like, would you have sushi at Jiro's in Japan?
How much is that?
I don't know. Expensive as shit, I'm sure.
Like, I guess there's two parts to that. It's like, would you as yourself right now, and would you if you were impossibly rich?
Right.
Like, that's the thing
myself,
too.
I know,
like right now, a $1,200 meal is completely theoretical. But
Like, I could forego, like, you could forego an entire vacation and go to this restaurant. I know I would never do it.
Right.
I think I would take the opportunity if someone was like, we're giving away, some contest. After seeing this movie, I would at least think about it for a second.
Yeah.
But I still think I would want to. I don't know if I'd be able to enjoy it thinking about, like, is this worth it? Even if I hadn't paid for it. Like, is this really worth that much? That might ruin the experience for me.
Right. I feel that way when I go to, like, Burger King, so I couldn't imagine going to, like, a big restaurant.
You're just staring at your Whopper, thinking of the opportunity cost.
Like, fuck, man, this is like $18.
Like, not only is this, like, worth the money, but like, is anything worth? Like, I don't know if I could feel positive about, like, putting a spoon in my mouth and being like, that was $200. Oh. Like,
and it's the whole plate. Like, you're done.
It might be.
That was the whole bite.
Yeah.
I do really want to go to, like, a chef's table restaurant, though, where, like, you don't have any choice. You just, like, go in and what they serve you is what they serve you.
And they just make you,
See, I think I would like that. I think I'd like, a food. Yeah, obviously not like something common.
Yeah.
But, as part of a vacation, or like Nate said, as like a substitute of a part of a vacation or something.
Right.
Yeah.
I think that'd be cool.
Yeah. It's a great movie. We've spent almost as much time talking about this movie as this movie is. It's an hour and 47 minutes. Go check it out. It's on HBO right now.
Yeah, it was a quick little movie. I feel like movies are just long now.
Oh my God.
They're longer.
It's so annoying. Yeah. And they don't need to be. Like Ant-Man and the everything doesn't need to be 4 fucking hours. Calm down.
Is it 4 hours?
I don't know. It's gonna be.
We can shit on Marvel after this. but yeah, like,
yeah. It's 1.4 avatars.
This is like the rare story where not the rare story, but where I guess I don't think they were tempted to, like, bloat it out.
Nope.
Like, it's better for being tight. Like, once it ramps up.
It's so perfectly paced.
Yeah.
Like, it felt like In Bruges, and not to that level, but like that level of smart pacing where, like, you're not really thinking about you're watching a movie throughout any of it. It just kind of happens in front of you and you're like, oh shit. I like that kind of.
It's that Ralph Fiennes touch.
It's true. You need Ray Fiennes to make it happen. So it sounds like we'd all recommend this movie. We think you should watch it. Does anyone have a drink they would pair with this movie?
I don't, because I got stuck on, should the drink to pair with this movie be a fancy, crafted, expensive drink with meaning?
Yep.
Or should it be a PBR?
Yep, exactly. I was going to say Sprite.
And I
think the answer is it's both. Like, that's the recommendation.
Yeah.
I love that. That's great. So let's quick do our plugs for things that we're doing. You can find us on youtube.com/@Rum and Cinema. You can follow us on TikTok @Rum and Cinema, and be sure to like and subscribe our YouTube channel, and wherever you get us on podcasts, please leave us a review. Let's get to the game, gentlemen. The game is called Movie Fusion. It's kind of like that Jeopardy category where it's like the front of one and the second half of another put together into one. So here's the example one.
Or fused, if you will.
Yeah, fused. I was trying to make it like a Tex-Mex joke because it's like that's a food fusion, but I couldn't figure one out fast enough. So we're stuck with Movie Fusion. So this is an example. Okay, so this is one of the clues would be the second movie in both franchises.
Real congeal.
So I'm going to give you a clue that has to do with both of the movies.
Stick.
And then I'll give you a description of both movies, and you have to tell me what the movies are together in like the fun way they should be said. So this is the second movie in both franchises. With the world now aware of his identity as Iron Man, Tony Stark must contend with both his declining health and a vengeful madman with ties to his father's legacy. As a former cop, Brian O'Connor is called upon to bust a dangerous criminal as he recruits the help of a former childhood friend and street racer who has a chance to redeem himself and prove himself to his new family.
Ben, one clarification question. Yeah. Did you think of this while high watching Jeopardy?
No. Doesn't sound like
it's like one of the recurring. That's one. That's one of my favorite Jeopardy categories.
I like it. That's why I like it. So I wanted to use it. So this movie is Iron Man 2: Fast, Too Furious. Okay, so that's how it's gonna go.
Okay.
You're gonna buzz in, and once you buzz in, I stop reading, and you get one guess. If the other person gets to just continue the clue from that point. Okay, ready? This one is based on a book, one is based on a graphic novel. Here's the reading. In a magically realistic version of Toronto, a young man must defeat his new girlfriend's 7 evil exes one by one in order to win her heart, while a former United Nations employee, Gary Lane, played by Brad Pitt, traverses the world in a race against time to stop a zombie pandemic that is toppling armies.
I got it.
All right, Nate.
Scott Pilgrim versus the World War Z.
Yeah, nice.
I was
one for Nate. Scott Pilgrim versus the World War Z. Well done. Round 2. Nate's up 1-0.
Point, Jake.
Nate won once, and he's never giving it up, he says.
I know, yeah.
All right. One is a multiverse, and one is in the past. A middle-aged Chinese immigrant is swept up into an insane adventure in which she alone can save existence by exploring other universes and connecting with the lives she could have led as a faded television actor played by Leonardo DiCaprio and a stunt double played by Brad Pitt. Nate?
Everything, Everywhere, All at Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Yes, nice.
I've never seen the second movie in both of these.
You haven't? Oh,
That's
dang.
your fault.
I tried to pick ones that we've all seen, but I guess not. This one I know everyone's seen. I think. Maybe not. One is in Japan, one is in South Korea. 5 assassins, including Brad Pitt and Bad Bunny, aboard a swiftly moving bullet train.
Got it.
Nate?
Bullet Train to Busan.
Oh my god. Okay.
Bullet Train's awesome, by the way, if you haven't seen it. That's a really fun movie.
Yeah, Bullet Train.
I think we recommended it.
Yeah.
That was on the podcast. We talked about that the last one.
We're going to keep that going.
Oh, yeah, definitely go see it.
All right. Now, the next 2, I tried this with Abby, and she said these 2 weren't fair because it's more of like the letters at the end sound the same rather than being like the same word. So be ready to be upset.
I always am. I'm upset already, so.
All right. The clue here is neither of these movies are out yet. Okay. And I need the full titles. Scott Lang and Hope Van Dyne, along with Hank Pym and Janet Van Dyne, explore the quantum realm, where they interact with strange creatures and embark on an adventure that goes beyond the limits of what they thought was possible. As Christopher Nolan directs the story of American scientist J. Robert Oppenheimer and his role in the development of the atomic bomb.
I guess I got it.
Okay.
Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania Oppenheimer.
Yeah! Quantumania.
Abby, that is a stretch.
Abby, if you watch this, you should have not let Ben do that.
Yeah, that was trash.
All right.
I knew for sure what the movies are, and you made me question myself.
Yeah, I knew the movies, but I couldn't think of the
connection?
Subtitle of Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Oh, yeah, Quantumania. That's a tough one.
Yeah. I was like, I know it's Ant-Man and the Wasp, but I know it's Oppenheimer.
It's literally a different vowel.
I know, but it sounds kind of cool if you put it together like that.
Yeah, I'm mad you preempted that by defending yourself, saying, well, they sound the same.
Well, I was not going to say anything.
That's not how vowels work.
But the way this game has gone so far, I didn't want Jake to bring John's up immediately and be like, whoa, hang on. 2 hour.
I'll bring them up whenever.
No, I know. 2 hour, 5-minute runtime on Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, so that's pretty good. Oppenheimer, I'm guessing about 5 hours.
I'm impressed.
Yeah,
but I want it to be that long.
Yeah.
Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Ant-Man and Wasp, 2 hours.
Oppenheimer.
Oh,
I'd watch a 5-hour Oppenheimer.
No word on Oppenheimer yet.
And 5 minutes of Marvel.
Yeah, I'll just watch the end credit scene, honestly.
No, I also appreciate that Ant-Man and the Wasp is only 2 hours and 5 minutes long instead of 3.5 hours long.
Oh my god, that'd be terrible. I've never seen that.
Maybe they've edited it a little bit this time.
Or they can't afford Paul Rudd enough to be a 3-hour movie. All right, last one. Both of these movies run around 3 hours long. That's their connection. Christopher Nolan directs a team of explorers, including Matthew McConaughey, as they travel through a wormhole in space in an attempt to ensure human survival. As the captions of our other movie, tell a fictitious story about two legendary revolutionaries and their journey away from home before they started fighting for their country in the 1920s.
Got it.
Nate?
Okay. Oh, shit. I lost. I forgot what the first movie was already.
Matthew McConaughey.
Interstellar RRR.
Yeah, Interstellar RRR.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was a bit better, I think. It's at least the same letter.
I also have not seen
Interstellar RRR.
Yeah. You haven't seen Interstellar? Is that what you just said?
Correct.
Wow. I thought Christopher Nolan movies were safe with this group. Like, I figured we'd all seen them all by now, but that's good to know.
Because we do.
You can safely assume I've seen any movie we've done a podcast on.
Okay. All right. Well, maybe we'll.
I don't know if I'd even recommend you gotta see Interstellar. I mean, it looks really cool, but I don't know if it's incredible.
It's fun.
I just know people. The soundtrack.
Yeah, and the fact that they wrote scientific papers off of the wormhole thing, that was cool.
As a big fan of hard sci-fi, I both love and fucking hate Interstellar. So it's a tough call.
Yeah.
There's some really cool hard sci-fi in there, and there's some really fucking stupid stuff.
Just like Christopher Nolan likes to do. Oh, time is an issue? Cool.
Time.
Time. All right, everybody. Thanks for listening to our episode today. I'd like to thank my guests, Nate and Jake. I'm going to let them give you a review to leave you with. Jake, what should the people watch?
Well, I feel like all of our review right now should be The Last of Us.
Yeah, incredible.
Yeah.
I assume we're all watching that. I actually am not caught up.
Same.
I did not see last night's Freaky Friday episode.
Same.
But yeah, that show's going to go down as one of the greats of all time.
Episode 3
I think it should.
Was one of the most amazing episodes I've ever seen. And I know I just said that about The Bear like 6 months ago, but this was incredible. Episode 3 of The Last of Us was wild. I cried.
Yeah, 100% agree with all of that.
Yeah. Last of Us, HBO Max, you can find that. Nate, thanks for joining. What do you have for the people?
There's a movie that came out last year on Netflix called White Noise.
Oh, yeah.
It is a surrealist. I think it's a dark comedy. I don't know that I call it a dark comedy. It's a surrealist comedy based on a book that's supposed to be unfilmable. It isn't a perfect movie plot-wise.
Sure.
It's more of just a connected series of events that are very funny and very, at times, very just throw off your tilt of like reality. Like I love movies that give you that surreal feeling where you're watching it and you just feel like you're going insane.
Yeah.
Because they're just not talking like human beings talk, but on purpose. And there's also some really laugh out loud. Like the middle third of the movie is one of like the funniest things I've seen in a while.
Damn. Okay.
Yeah.
Starring.
There are parts of the movie that aren't good.
Yeah.
But the middle third of the movie is some of the best stuff I've seen in a while.
Hell yeah. Adam Driver, Greta Gerwig, and Don Cheadle are in that one. That's on.
Adam Driver is great.
That's on Netflix. Adam Bomback's worked with him before. He did Marriage Story, Francis Ha, a couple other ones. Fantastic Mr. Fox. He wrote that. But yeah, that's a good one. I like that. Thanks, Nate. Mine is The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, streaming on Starz through Hulu. It is the movie where Pedro Pascal plays a rich person who is in, I believe, South America. And then Nicolas Cage plays himself as himself. And it goes through this wild
That's
story.
all you had to say.
It's so fun. We were watching it and Abby bought the movie halfway through. She was like, we need to own this. Like, this will be rewatched. And it has one of the best.
Also,
yeah.
Oh, I was just going to say, where's Pedro Pascal been all our lives?
I know. What the hell?
He's in everything. There's some other movie I saw a trailer for recently that has Pedro Pascal that looks really good.
The
SNL
yet, so
Mario Kart
one?
Yeah.
That was his episode of SNL, I watched the whole thing. It was absolutely hilarious. He did so well.
Really good.
Upcoming, he is in The Uninvited, Freaky Tales, Strange Way of Life, Tropico, The Bubble, Noah's House Comes with a Bird. I don't know.
What was he in? Because the first thing I know him from is Game of Thrones.
Yep.
I don't remember him in anything before that.
He was in an episode of CSI, Homeland. He was in an episode of that. Nurse Jackie. Yeah, he did a lot of TV, and then he was in Narcos. That was the first real big thing, it looks like. Then he was in The Kingsman, Equalizer 2. He was in the Community webisode. I can't
find what I feel like I was thinking of.
Is it The Mandalorian? That's coming out soon.
Oh, weird. He was in a 2011 Wonder Woman. That looks like it's maybe a Spanish language. That's funny.
He was also in. He was in. Wasn't he in Wonder Woman 2?
Yeah, he was. That's why it's funny.
Yeah,
he was the main villain in Wonder Woman 2.
God, he deserved better. But yeah, The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. Hilarious, awesome, great, loved it.
I wonder if it's that, and I just didn't
probably
put the title didn't get into my head. It was just like scrolling through a streaming service, and I saw a trailer, and I was really excited, and I was like, "Fucking Pedro Pascal's everywhere."
Yeah, and Nicolas Cage is so funny, and plays it so well. It's an interesting journey they take you on. It's really fun. It's worth it. So those are our recommendations along with the menu. I want to thank everybody again for joining us. Be sure to follow us wherever you follow us. Tell your friends. Share this, whatever you want to do. Enjoy your rum. Enjoy your cinema. We'll see you next time.